MCP or Model Context Protocol is a hot topic in the developers community. Many developers, at least at first glance, think that MCP is overrated and just another way to refer to APIs. That's partially correct, but it is much more than that. It standardizes how LLMs communicate with applications. It is the natural language of models and makes them more accessible to developers. The OpenAPI and the MCP specifications are two sides of the same coin. Both define how APIs should be designed and documented, but serve different purposes. OpenAPI focuses on RESTful APIs, while MCP centers around LLMs integration. I have implemented a holistic solution called hapi, Headless API, to facilitate the implementation of both OpenAPI and MCP specifications. Let me show you how to use it with a practical example. My VM instances run on Contabo, a VPS provider. Using the hapi CLI tool, I will demonstrate how to integrate MCP without writing a single line of code. Download or save your OpenAPI specification file. In this example, it's contabo.json, which describes the API on the Contabo VPS provider. These files must be saved in API code aspects directory. In a greenfield project where you don't have anything implemented, you can create a new project using hapi init command. This command uses Swagger specification file to generate the controller's scaffold and save the file in API code source. There are two ways to run the hapi command, what I call the headless mode and the MCP mode. In the MCP mode, this command prints some API statistics like the number of endpoints and models that the Swagger specification provides. Then it starts a web server with the entire MCP implementation, including the OpenAPI specification, the MCP specification, and the controller scaffolding. The headless mode is intended for brownfield projects where you already have an existing backend application and want to integrate the MCP part. The head part is the current backend application, and the server defined in the OpenAPI specification consumes its business logic. This command will start a web server with MCP implementation, but will not use the controller scaffolding. Instead, it will consume the business logic using the existing backend application, in this case, the API contabo.com, that is specified in the Swagger specification. If you test the endpoints using a tool like Postman or the built-in Swagger UI, you will see that the endpoints are already implemented and ready to use without any business logic yet. Of course, that's something that you need to implement, and you can do that directly in the API code source Contabo directory. Every single Swagger specification has their own namespace or directory. If I test the MCP server in VS Code, you see here that I have already 90 tools provided by the MCP server. I'm going to test this, but I'm going to test with a token that already expired for you to see that it will fail with an authentication error. Now, let's test this in Postman. You see here, I have the complete list of the tools provided in the MCP server without coding anything that was the endpoints are taken from the Swagger specification, and then hapi server implement those as tools. As you can see here, all the parameters defined in the schema are already provided, and those that are mandatory are marked with a specific flag and a star, red star. Okay, let's provide the parameters, execute that. This is going directly to the server to execute the specific endpoint in that brownfield server already implemented. Let me show you here in the logs. So this is the response from the server, the JSON. We can format the JSON and review to compare that with the actual Contabo admin panel. And you will see that the information that I get in that JSON is exactly the one that I have in my admin panel. That's all. What do you think? Would you like to see more examples of how hapi MCP, or do you have any questions about the implementation? Let me know in the comments below. Connect with me in Twitter or in LinkedIn and stay updated of the latest developments by Rebelion. Do you want to download the hapi CLI tool? Comment on LinkedIn or Twitter and I will send you the link directly. Be happy and go Rebel!